Hey, what's up? I want to go through a little bit of content on some leg locks and stuff today. I want to talk about attacking from the saddle, and then I want to share a couple of concepts there that I use to make sure that we can maintain our attacks, and some general concepts that you can use to help improve your leg lock game. So, first things first, saddle position. I'm going to get it on this leg, thanks. When we play saddle, I see a lot of different variations, and depending on the variation that we are using, we will get different results and we'll see different reactions. The main thing that I want to think about when I'm playing the saddle is putting his knee around a bend, okay? So I've seen over the years a lot of people playing like a triangle position with their legs like this. I don't find this as favorable because Rayan can start to turn his leg here, and I actually have a lot less friction, and I'm going to have to be a lot more diligent when it comes to following the knee. Now, the idea of following the knee is one of the first things that we have to think about if we want to be good at attacking and re-attacking and following leg locks. Following the knee means keeping it above my knee line. I want to imagine that I have like this line here from one knee to the other, and if his knee is past that line, I have control of it. If his knee is beyond that line, I do not have control of it. So following his knee is my top priority when it comes to attacking leg locks. Beyond that, one of the other concepts that I want to start thinking about is controlling the secondary leg. This is before I get any kind of bites or any kind of finishing mechanics, because if I can't follow, there's no way that I can finish. Okay, so for me anyway, one of the types of saddles that I find myself playing a lot more, and I stole this from Nicky Ryan, is going foot to foot. This allows me to bring both of my knees vertical, and it puts his knee around the bend of my legs. Now, when Rayan tries to turn his knee to escape, it's a lot harder for him to mobilize, and it's a lot easier for me to follow behind that knee. Okay, so those are the two important things that I'm looking for. From here, even if I secure this position, I don't start looking for my finish, because as you see, as I start to reach back, I leave myself exposed to him getting his knee line back. So we start to recruit our hands to attack the second leg. For me, I like to use a nice big row, and I go to either his ankle and his shin or his knee and shin. I start to pull that leg back in and either start to trap over or wrap as well, so that I can get into these positions where now he's stacked on his hips and I can start to attack either the secondary, the one that's trapped in here, or the primary with knee bars. Go to my heel hooks when he keeps trying to defend this. I can start to come back, trap that toe line, and get my exposure. The other reason that we want to keep control of the secondary leg is because people will use that to start escaping. If Rayan can get his foot in and project weight, he can start getting to track starters, and now it's going to be a mission for me to follow. If I'm controlling that secondary leg, even if I don't pull it in, when he starts to track, I can start to follow. So, one of the entries that I like to use from this saddle position is to go to the backside to finish, controlling the secondary legs, primarily with my hands, and then skimming with my legs in the second stage so that my hands can go free and I can complete the submission. So, once I land in the saddle and I start to see the defensive reaction from him where he hides his heel here, I know that he's starting to think about the turn and escape. So I go to my second leg, and I get ready to start rolling as he turns. So you start to turn, and I start to roll. At this point, you can see because my feet were free, I'm easily able to follow the knee of his second leg. This is what we're talking about when it comes to skimming the leg. Okay? From here, I'm releasing with this hand so that I can follow his foot, and I can start to enter as we roll through. When I roll here, my second leg has captured his second leg, and now we're in the backside position where I can toe strike and I can finish with my backside heel hook with pressure here, and he's unable to turn anymore. If he tries to turn, his hips are disabled. If he tries to roll again, he doesn't have another roll. He might try come back up to his knees here, and that's okay, but it just helps me to get more exposure. So controlling the secondary leg, either with my legs or my hands, helps me to stay in control and follow the roll. And then I'm keeping his knee line connected. Now, in that roll, there can be things that happen that are not optimal for my control. So let's say we get to that position. I go, everything's going great. But as we start to go, Rayan makes good inroads at freeing his knee here. And we start to get out, right? Just come back to where you're like knee in the track start. If we're in this track start position here, and you're like all the way up, you've got your hips in the air. Yeah. We get to this position here, as you can see, Rayan's knee is free. So what I'm going to do, and this is one of those kind of things where you have to judge whether this is going to be the correct decision for you to make. Otherwise, you might have to wrestle up for his back. But I'm going to take my hand around, and I'm going to grab the front of his thigh. From here, I can start to collect his leg and pull it back in. This is kind of that grip that I wanted. And then I can begin to finish from there. Recollecting the knee mid-roll is really challenging. So if you can begin to really work your legs to keep control and skim and follow, then you don't have to use your hands and reduce your amount of control of the legs and get to your finishes. So a couple of key considerations there from the start, thinking knee line, having a nice solid block and a wedge that his knee is bent around, rather than making it easy for his leg to move. I don't want that. Keeping that bent foot to foot, I find to be a little bit more optimal. That's not to say that we can't start playing triangles. However, we need to understand that he has more mobility, and I might leave myself open to offense when my feet are on the outside. One of the reasons the saddle's so good is because I've got 2 feet inside. It's very hard for him to re-attack me and to create counters and things like that. He is primarily thinking about freeing his knee line, which, if I'm doing a good job of controlling, is going to be very challenging for him. Then I'm looking at controlling the secondary leg, either with my hands or as he rolls with my foot, so that I can skim and I can continue to develop my attacks and develop my bite. When it comes to how you enter the saddle, that's also an important consideration on how you are collecting the knee line. Good saddle entries mean that we land in the saddle with the knee already controlled. This is much more ideal than trying to land in the saddle with no knee line collected already, because then we're going to have a lot of work cut out for us. And against a game opponent with good hips and good awareness, we're not going to get another chance. I hope you find these kind of tips helpful. So remember, have your legs working independently. That's one of the reasons we don't triangle. Skim and follow the knee line as we go. If we're rolling, we want to make sure that we can follow, hence why I'm collecting for that secondary leg, making a posture that allows me to roll and get ready to attack. And then once they have rolled, we only ever allow them to roll once. We do that by skimming the leg. When we skim, it means that their secondary leg is blocked over, their hips are in an unideal position to make athletic movements, and we'll have a lot more success with our leg locks. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.